So I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce Dave, and it was funny because when I went to we were working with a lady by the name of Grace, and I asked Grace, I said, what do I refer to Dave Reichert as? Do I refer to him as, Sheriff Reichert, Mr. Reichert, Congressman Reichert? She says, he prefers Sheriff or Mr. Reichert. I said, okay, I can live with that. About 20 minutes later, his assistant that had worked with him for 42 years came back and says, he goes by Dave. And I think that speaks a lot about who he is and why he fits with the feeling of Washington. He's done a lot for the state of Washington across the years. I moved into Washington 40 years ago, right before he became sheriff, and unfortunately, since the 40 years I've been here, if you look at the statistics, a lot of the key statistics have gone downhill. I'm not taking any blame for him going downhill, but we need to change that. So a little history on Dave, and I'm not going to steal his show because I know he can tell you more about himself than I could and what it stands for. But Dave, from the highlands of Renton, grew up in a tough situation, but he found his feet. He found his way around. He went to college down in Portland at Concordia on an athletic scholarship, moved back to Washington, and the rest is kind of history. But the bottom line throughout all of his career is he's applied the skills he learned in sports, of leadership, endurance, continuing to bounce back up when you get knocked down, and to lead people to achieve objectives. So I take this opportunity now to introduce Dave, or Mr. Reichert, or the sheriff, or however you want to refer to him. So thank you.
Do I need the mic because you're recording this? I need it because of that? Yeah, I'm not usually a mic guy. It seems formal to me. But can you hear me out?
It's like this? You can have this.
No, this is good.
No?
As long as you can hear me. It's on.
It's on.
Why do I have to turn it on? Can you not hear me? I'll turn it on. I'm just being difficult. Okay, how's...
There we go.
I don't like the sound of my own voice, and I don't like my... Oh, good, that picture's gone. I don't like that picture either. But, those of us who are running for office, have the opportunity to go to events like this now almost every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And every one of these gets me energized because this is really how things begin to change. In rooms like this, with people like you, giving up an evening, coming to an event to listen to a bunch of political speeches. And sometimes we can be boring. You're supposed to say, yeah, I've been to those. And then, yeah, it's okay to say, yes, Dave, sometimes you're boring. Sometimes it's not always an A+ speech. But the fact that you're here shows you care. Shows you care about what's happening here in Washington State, what's happening in your community, and you want to make a change. The fact that I'm running for office and all the other candidates in this room are running for office is that we hope that we can be a part of your team. This isn't about us. We happen to be the face of whatever office we're running for. So I want to first thank all of you for just being interested to be here and taking the time to be here. Then I want to tell you just a little bit about myself. You said I had about 20 minutes or?
Yeah, it's about 20, 25, and then questions briefly.
Oh, questions too.
Yeah, it's a challenge. There is a test at the end.
Oh yeah, I've been asked about every question you can imagine. I don't think anybody's going to come up with one that we haven't faced already. Okay, real quick. I'm the oldest of 7, grew up in the Renton Highlands, as Jim said. I grew up in a family of domestic violence, moved to Kent, went to Kent Meridian High School, ran away from home because of the domestic violence, lived in an old car, 1956 Mercury, by the way. Those of us with silver hair can remember what that kind of a car looks like. And I wish I had that car today because I spent $200 on it years ago. It's probably worth about 20 grand today. There's a lot of us in this room that wish we had kept the old cars that we bought, right? If we could only see the future. I left school, but I kept going to school. I look back and I go, why did I keep going to school? 2 reasons: girls and football. Those are the 2 reasons I kept going back, but it kept me in school. I passed. I could play a little ball, so I got asked to play at a small college in Oregon, Concordia Lutheran College. The deal was they would pay my tuition, buy my books, gave me a job, but I had to get my grades up. So I looked for the smartest girl in the college when I got to Concordia. Do you believe that? No, I actually was looking for the prettiest girl. Yeah. And I found her. But she was also the smartest girl. She was on the dean's list. So I got my grades up. I was able to stay in school. And on June 19th, that young lady, Julie, and I just celebrated our 54th wedding anniversary. Yeah. That's how that worked out. It was perfect. 3 kids, 6 grandkids, and 5 great-grandchildren, and a 6th great-grandchild on the way, will be born in December. So we've been very blessed as a family, and that's why I'm here tonight, and I know that's why you're here tonight, because you're thinking about your kids and your grandkids and the future they might or might not have in this state with the way things that are being run right now. Am I correct?
Yes.
I went into the sheriff's office after some active duty time in the Air Force, and I was a patrol officer, worked in the jail. I could tell you some patrol officer stories. People like cop stories, but I don't have time tonight. Catch me on another night when I have a little longer to speak, and I'll tell you some cop stories. They illustrate a point, though. You know, I faced life and death situations when I was a police officer. In one incident, I was stabbed and had my throat slit with a butcher knife. I went home. My wife never once said to me, "Don't do this job anymore. It's too dangerous, and I don't want to worry about you not coming home." I never once thought about quitting. I want to give you some hope and some faith tonight. I want you to believe that we can win this race. I want you to believe that the impossible can be accomplished if you believe the impossible is possible. You know who said that? Alice in Wonderland. You know how I know that?
Grandkids.
I had to watch it the other night with one of my grandchildren. It wasn't that bad of a movie. But isn't that a great quote, though? We've got to believe that. And you have to, when you leave this room tonight, this is August 6th tomorrow, it's the primary. Do you know how many people have voted? What is it, 19%? Jeff, tell me. 19%. That's it for the state. 19% of registered voters have voted. When you leave tonight, go back and tell your friends and your family who are voting age, fill out your ballot. Get that thing in by tomorrow. We have to have people get involved, engaged. People are dying for the right for us to vote, have died for us to have the right to vote. Now, I was promoted to sheriff. I really don't know how it happened. It was rather quick. After I worked a Green River case for a while, most of you know my name through the Green River serial murder case, right? 9 years of collecting dead bodies. 9 years. Scores and scores of little girls and young women having to tell their parents, just found your daughter's body. But you don't give up. You don't give up hope. You don't give up faith. You keep doing the job. You keep moving forward. And that's what we're going to do in the state of Washington. We're going to win this race. I became the sheriff by accident, in my opinion. I had been involved in a head-on car crash in 1990 and had a back surgery then. Off 6 months. Fast forward, 1996, had foot drop. They call it foot drop when your foot stops working. It's just hanging there. I had to go back in 96 and have surgery. Doc says, "I don't know if your foot's going to work again." Guess what I did when I went home? I got my toes wiggling. I was looking for work, by the way, in the want ads because I wasn't sure I could go back and be a police officer. In February, my foot was moving, and the doctor cleared me to go back to active duty at the sheriff's office. I was back to work for 2 weeks. And this is in '96 when the voters said, we want an elected sheriff. I went back. I got a phone call. Ron Sims, county executive, wanted to interview me for the job of sheriff. I thought it was a joke because I hadn't put my name in. I hadn't raised my hand. I hadn't volunteered. I hadn't provided a resume. I just got a phone call. On Monday, I said, I want to have dinner with I want to interview the sheriff. On Monday, I interviewed with the county executive. On Tuesday night, he had dinner with me in Kenmore, where I was the precinct commander. He said, I want to offer you the job of sheriff. I was impressed with our interview. Would you be the sheriff of Kane County? I said, yeah, what the heck? Might as well, right? I didn't know I had to run until he told me. He says, oh, by the way, you have to run for office. So that was my entry into politics. People wonder why. Okay, if you're, politicians, right? I was not a politician. I was a cop. But that's how I got into elected office. I was drafted. Oh, by the way, before he walked away from the table, he said, are you a Democrat or Republican? I said, yes. He said, you're going to do just fine. Hey, look, don't give up, right? WTO. I was the sheriff during WTO. Don't give up. We brought order to the city of Seattle. I went to Congress 14 years. Those experiences that I had in Congress, those experiences in the Air Force, those experiences at home as a child, those experiences in the sheriff's office have given me a heart to serve. That's why I'm doing this. I want to serve, and we're going to solve problems because we're going to look at the facts. We're not going to go by ideology. We're going to look at the facts. What else can a cop do, right? Anybody remember the Dragnet show? Joe Friday, what did he say? Just the facts, ma'am. Wouldn't it be great if we had a government that said, just the facts, ma'am? I don't care about the ideology on the left. I don't care about the ideology on the right. Just the facts. Dr. Raul Garcia, running for our state senator's position, U.S. senator, but in the state of Washington. What do you operate on? Facts. He's got to look at a patient and determine facts. He doesn't say this is a Democrat patient. I guess I need to do something different than I would with a conservative patient. He looks at facts. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a government that bases their decisions on facts. And we're going to have a government that's going to be the servant of the people, not the other way around. We're going to serve the people. I'm tired of being the servant of this government. I'm tired of that. Are you?
Yeah.
I want a government that's honest. So integrity, right? We all want that. Who would be against a government based on servanthood, integrity? Would you not want to be a part of a team that's based upon servanthood and integrity? We become leaders. Look, this election is going to be historic, not just for the state of Washington. 40 years, Republican governor. I was the first elected sheriff in 30 years. Let's make this the first elected Republican governor in 40 years. We can do that. We can do that. All of us together. It's a team effort. This will be historic across this country. We take office in January. We start to change the way we do business, and we start a dialogue with our Democrat friends in the House and the Senate. That's how we're going to change things. People will see an example of how we treat people, respect people, and work with people. They will see an example of a partnership that we're trying to develop, and maybe it starts to flow out into the community, and we can actually start to talk to our friends who happen to be of a different political persuasion. I can't even talk to my brother and sister-in-law. They're so far left, it turns into an argument. Now, they're on my wife's side of the family. I'm just kidding. They're great people. They just have screwed up. No. I'm just teasing for the camera there. Every time I say something a little funny, guess what happens? Ferguson takes it, he hits me on social media and tries to scare people. They've got a campaign of fear and lies, and that's sad. We're going to focus on the issues. Public safety system, criminal justice system is in vapor lock. It's broken. We can fix that. Homelessness. What are the two major drivers right now today of homelessness? Substance abuse and mental illness. Those two things. And Dr. Garcia will talk about fentanyl and drug and substance abuse and what he deals with in the hospital. The economy. I mean, we keep getting taxed. And not only the taxes, it's the regulations. Let's just take away your natural gas, right? Let's add 50 cents a gallon when we were told it was pennies to the gallon of gas, right? Let's say that we exempt farmers and truck drivers from that gas tax, but we really don't do it. And they pay it too. What happens to everything that you buy? Everything we buy has gone up in price. Why is your car insurance so high, by the way?
One of the worst states is
Right, because
theft.
100 cars a day are stolen. No consequences. Education. Your children are your children, not the state's.
Yes.
Right? I'm glad they're your children. I raised mine. They're your problem. Right? But we need to make sure that our children are taught those subjects they need to be taught so they can be successful citizens in our community. And what are those? We all know science, technology, engineering. Now they've added art, which is good. A lot of my kids have some art talent, and math. Parents want choice in school. I'm pro-choice in school. Teachers want choice. They want to teach the subjects they've been trained to teach, but they can't. They've been dictated to by the government as to what their curriculum is going to be. So parents and teachers both want choice. Charter schools, we need more of them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And what about maybe your tax dollars following your student to the school that you choose, or if you choose to homeschool? Those are all great ideas, right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want you to get tired. We got some more speakers coming up. But thank you guys for having me tonight. And don't forget to vote. Go home, tell everybody else you know that is able to vote, because tomorrow is the last day. Okay, you want me to take a few questions or not?
Yes, we have
Okay.
time for questions, so I'll open it to the floor, and
I have allergies.
then if there's
so-
silence, I'll bring up some.
Okay. Yep.
Do you think the role of drone technology is in law enforcement and public safety? It seems like we could do a lot more to put eyes and ears onto a crime scene very, very quickly with drones. And I noticed that I believe it was in Redmond that they started a pilot program. Seems to me to have great potential. I'm sort of really curious what your thoughts are.
I think that, so if you remember, a number of years ago, Seattle PD tried drones at Alki, and the community came out strongly against it. So it would depend on the local jurisdiction and working with their community, because what I hear when I talk to school superintendents, city mayors, city council members, county council, county executives, they're all saying we have lost local control of our schools, local control of our cities and counties. And so that's a decision that should be made at those government levels, local governments making those decisions for their local police departments and sheriff's offices. If you want to talk about state patrol, I would support technology that would help them, especially when it comes to, I can see a very good use of drones in pursuits, for pursuits. Because right now they're still, even though that initiative was passed, they're still limited to some degree. Yep, there's other technologies too that can be used. Rapid DNA machines, by the way, is another at crime scenes. Rapid DNA, that's what I was doing when I left Congress. I was working in Central America, by the way, in Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica, and Panama. Learned a little Espanol, muy poco, or poquito. But that machine is able to give you a DNA profile in 90 minutes. So when you go into a crime scene and you find samples and you're able to put it in that machine, you're right on the trail of the person who is, maybe they were injured in as a witness and or as a suspect. So that's one. Yes, ma'am.
So I try to be an optimist, but I'm more of a realist. Sometimes those,
Do you need therapy?
yeah, I'm beyond that. So I'm of the, okay, my husband and I, we've lived here for our whole lives. And we've actually got one foot out the door,
Yeah.
and we're looking to move to Texas. And the reason for that is because we've gotten to the point where we feel like our vote doesn't even count. And you know, part of me is like, I want to make a difference. I want to believe that we can change the state, and I really do. But then there's a part of me that's like, you know what's hitting the fan, and there's only so much, you know, we moved to the east side because Seattle was too dangerous, and now we're having all sorts of, I had a friend of mine who was just accosted walking her dog in the middle of the day in Clyde Hill,
Yeah.
and got and her necklace ripped off,
Right.
and fortunately my kids are old, and if my kids were little, I'd be out of here like yesterday. My kids are, I've got one at Hillsdale, I've got one,
Yeah.
my kids are good, but I'm having a really hard time being optimistic. I mean, the people that I know, friends of mine who I love, they're so apathetic to what's happening, and they have no idea. Like they don't pay attention.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I want to tell them, if you don't know what's going on in the state, you shouldn't vote.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because
That's
you're
where-
dumb. I'm just having, I guess my need to be informed and my need to stay sane are not real good right now. So, I voted for you. I voted for.
Well, see, you're on your road to recovery already.
Well, it's the first step, right? And part of me is like, I know people, and they're going to look at the ballots, and they're just going to put Democrat, 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 Democrat.
Well, I'll tell you, so.
They're not even going to know the issues.
Well, I'm going to share this with you that, first of all, change starts with us,
Right.
okay? And secondly, if we don't do it, who will, right? And if we have committed to doing it, then we've got to do it 100%, right? You're here.
Yeah, but you
So,
have one county.
I'm-
You have one county, King County. If you don't win.
Oh, yeah, but
That's
Yeah.
why we're here. And that's,
but I've done that before. I'm not worried about
I'm
that.
just saying, like, it's one county
Yeah.
that.
So we're going to win because we are right. We are talking to almost every event I go to now is a combination of Republicans, independents, undecideds, moderate Democrats. When I was running for Congress, if somebody threw a fundraiser, a conservative threw a fundraiser, it was Republicans at the fundraiser. When I go now, and I don't know, I'm not asking, but I bet you there are people in here who lean to the left, and some are further right than I am. But what we recognize together is that we have a problem as Americans. We have a problem as Washingtonians. We have a problem as human beings in our communities right now. And there is a shift in the way that we are viewing our community and how we solve problems. People recognize that if you allow someone to commit a misdemeanor and there are no consequences, our children then start to commit other crimes. And they might shoplift a pack of gum one day and nobody says anything. Oh, I think I'll fill up a shopping cart full of food. And then the next week, they're taking that shopping cart and they're filling up a stolen car full of food because there's no consequences. Nobody cares. We can't even put the juveniles in the youth center into lockup who commit serious felonies. We can't do it because they're putting adults in those facilities. So they're booking 21 to 25-year-olds in the youth center because they say the prison is too harsh. Now, what about, this makes no sense. So I gave you my brief background because the experience that I've had in my life, I think perfectly matches with the problems that we're facing today. And with that lined up, I didn't expect to be here at 73 years old running for governor, but I've been asked every cycle to do this. And I've said, no, you know, the timing's not right. I want to solve Green River first. And then I ran for Congress. And then I left for 5 years and worked in Central America. Then all of a sudden, the stars have aligned. And it has taken us years to get to the point that we're at today. But you got to put your foot down somewhere. And I'm going to make a stand. And I want you to stand with me. And I want everyone in this room to do the same. We are going to be, I will be the SWAT commander, you will be the SWAT team, and we're going to take this governor's office this year. We're going to do that. But you've got to commit to it too. You've got to get people out there to vote. You've got to donate to your candidates here because it takes money. I'm not asking for my own self, although, you know, if you feel so moved by the Spirit. But the rest of these guys and gals that are running for office need your help. And that's part of it. Get involved. That's why you're here. And we're going to win King County because, not win King County, but we only need 40%. We've done that before, 7 times. 7 times we've done that. And we're going to do it again.
I do want to say on that issue too, after all the speakers are done and we're here and everybody else is gone, we'll talk about what the strategy is to move forward. Because that's part of it. You know, we can come and do these events and we spend an hour or 2 hours, but it's how do we move forward and how do we get beyond, you know, the Photoshop and how do we get beyond the initial thing. So stick around afterwards, and that's where we're going to try and figure out what we need to do, what we can do as individuals to support that.
This lady, and then
First of all, I want to thank you for coming to Kirkland. We've been waiting for you to come to Kirkland.
man, I'll tell you, it's a big state.
You're in enemy territory, basically.
Oh, we
I
are?
think that's how you will gain, you really
Yeah.
will gain ground, is going into these places where you're not popular.
Yeah.
I reached out to your coordinator and tried to get you to talk to my IBEW Local 46 Union Hall. And we were corresponding, and then it just stopped because everybody.
This guy.
No, because I guess he quit, the man, Eric Cooper.
Oh, yeah, he went to law school.
He was my contact.
Yeah, sorry.
And nothing.
Yeah.
So then I was given Grace, my name Grace.
Grace just got hired, so she's
Okay.
brand new.
Well, I
So you got a guy that left and somebody who's just been here 2 weeks, so,
Okay.
yeah.
After you win the primaries, I really
Yep.
want you to go there because they say, you know, it's predominantly, we've always been told, you know, vote Democrat, vote Democrat. There's
Yes.
a lot of us that are not on that side.
Yes.
They hear your message.
Yep.
You will resonate with a lot of those people down there.
I will be happy
And
to
I
go.
have already talked to my business agent, and so I will talk with you about that.
Yep.
Because I have the information and all
Yep.
that. But I think you really gained some ground where most people, most Democrats don't think you will.
Yeah.
That I can-
So when I was in Congress, we had union support. The Air Traffic Controllers Union usually endorsed Democrats. The air traffic controllers had a problem. They came to Maria Cantwell, they came to other Democrat representatives and senators. They couldn't get a meeting. Finally, one of the longshoremen says, why don't we go see Dave Reichert and see, because he's got a law enforcement background. This had to do with the Coast Guard and Homeland Security on the docks in Seattle and Tacoma. They came in, they told me the problem. In 3 months, we had 2 bills written. We got them passed and signed by the president. So the Longshoremen's Union didn't ultimately endorse us, but the air traffic controllers did. I get two stories mixed up there a little bit, but the air traffic controllers had two issues that they came in. We solved them for the air traffic controllers. They came into our call centers wearing their union jackets. And Republicans were asking me, why are these union people in our call center? And I said, because here is what America is about. We brought people together. So the teachers union, by the way, the National Teachers Union has endorsed me in past campaigns. Yeah. Oh, we haven't had a chance to talk to them yet because primary stuff, is all screwy. So once we get past the primary, we're going to be talking to everybody that we can talk to. So now we've had a lot of unions. Jeff could probably list the unions off that we've been supported, have supported us over a period of time. So be happy to talk. These are hardworking men and women.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and they're paying the taxes just like everybody else. And we have a message, I think, that they're going to be supportive of. Yes, sir.
Everybody, I think, is aware of the $50 checks that Ferguson's been passing out for the canned chicken.
We call them the chicken checks. Yeah.
Okay. You may not know it, but you can go online. If you didn't get one, you can go online and you can get one of those $50 checks. It takes 6 or 8 weeks to come to you. I'm endorsing my check over to your campaign.
A lot of people when they got their checks did that. And then I'm guessing that Roel and others have gotten those checks too, and then people go online and says, thank you, Bob, for donating to Dave Reichert's campaign.
$50 a head, it adds up.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Dave's got to be a busy schedule with tomorrow being polls closing and everything, so I guess we can have one more question. You've got time for that?
Yep.
One more question, and
I just want to make sure that the other candidates have a chance to.
right.
You pick, because there's 2 hands.
He had his hand up first, so go ahead, in the back there.
Yeah, so this question is for Dave, but it also applies to the other candidates in the room. Have you approached radio stations like Rainier Avenue Radio and like Converge Media, kind of the smaller journalists, people who might not get the big attention like Fox 13 and stuff?
Yes. Yeah, we're doing a lot of sort of the local podcasts. Yeah, we're doing that, and we're going to try and do more of that. It's just a matter of finding everybody and having the contacts. But most of all, what happens in our situations, people reach out to us, these small radio stations or small podcasts, then you become aware of them. And I'm more than happy to go on any of them. And same thing that we did when I was in Congress. If somebody call and want me to come on, I'm happy to come on and talk. I just did what's the radio show I did with the 2 hosts that attacked me a little? Gene and Ursula. You guys know? Oh, yeah, that was a fun show. But they didn't agree with me on everything. But you know what? They said, great for Dave for coming on here, taking the tough questions. And that's what we're going to do. I'm not afraid to ask me a question, I'll answer the question. What you're going to get is, what you see is what you get. It's going to be a cop, no BS. Okay? And you got a doc back here that's going to be a doc, no BS. So we got a cop and a doc thing going on. Right? We're going to fix it.
All right.
All right. Hey, thank you guys.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.